How to gain indomitable discipline like the 1%. So discipline, we've heard it over and over again. It's cliche, it's in every YouTube video. It's driving us crazy. We all want discipline, right? But I would actually claim we actually don't know what discipline is, the average person. That's why there isn't much of it out there, honestly. But discipline, what is discipline? This is what we have to ask ourselves. I always go back. This is actually I got this from Elon Musk. First principles. If you want to understand any topic, you want to fix any problem in your life or in business or whatever, look at first principles. So what are the first underlying things that we cannot deny? What are the foundation of everything? This is what I'm talking about. First principles. It's easy. Everyone can get it. It's simple. You're not going to weed anybody out. And it's a good starting point. And I did that with discipline. So what is discipline? Mike Tyson has a famous quote. He's going to say it better than me. But discipline is doing what you love, doing what you hate, and acting like you love it over and over and over again. And that's why obviously a man like him became the heavyweight champion. And every fighter understands that completely. Discipline is everything. So what is it? So discipline is doing things you don't like over and over again? Right? Okay, everyone would say that, but I would say it's a lot deeper than that. Discipline equals, wait for it, drum roll, ritual. A ritual. Think about it. And we don't use this word anymore. We really don't. We really don't. So what is a ritual then? We get down to it. And people think of magic or pagan societies, or back in history they would use rituals to speak to their gods or God or whatever, they're worshiping. But it all started back then, honestly. Civilization started. People understood we needed discipline or ritual to build things up. Okay? You see where we're going with this? So rituals were discipline and ritual in ancient times. You read texts from back then. I got plenty of books. And this is the way people talk about things. This is just language. Because when I say discipline, you think of something else. You might think of, great fighters or, hardworking businessmen like I brought up Mike Tyson or Elon Musk. But ritual, what does that come to your mind? What comes to your mind when I say ritual? Think about it. But these are the same thing. And it clicked for me when I read Will Durant's, I haven't read all of it, but Civilizations. The history of civilization. And it's basically, you could call it a big encyclopedia of just history, of all the civilizations that came through history. And he talks about ritual in their daily life. Because they knew if you do something over and over and over again, you get a reward. Right? And they call it a ritual in a religious sense. And in his book, what clicked for me for exercise was that in ancient Greece, they would have temples. They would erect temples. Even ancient Rome, too. They would erect temples to Hercules, the Roman version. And in this temple, to worship Hercules, you would work out. You would box. You would wrestle. You would exert your body. You would move your body. And what is this? And what he was leading to is the temple of Hercules in ancient Greece was an ancient gym. So you'd pay the high priestess or the high priest a daily membership to the god of Hercules, right? That's your membership to this temple, or they call it a temple, but today we call it a gym. But you're worshiping Hercules in that gym. Hilarious, right? And the ritual you would do in this gym to show your worship of Hercules is you would do reps. You do sets. You do rounds of boxing and wrestling. And by doing those activities over and over again, Hercules would grant you power. Hercules would grant you strength because Hercules was the god of, I want to say off the top of my head, sports, athletics, heroes, strength. I mean, physical fitness. I mean, this is really what he was. And you can see even today, businesses still put Hercules in their name. They still put, figures or pictures of Hercules in their gyms and stuff. I mean, like, I want to say, what is it, the Hercules, what was it, holding, strongman? It's like you're holding like two pillars. I mean, like, you guys gotta correct me on that. But like, even then, like, it's like right there. It's so deep. I was cracking up when I was learning about this. Because that's what happens when you do a ritual, when you walk into a sacred temple in a building. You do a ritual, or you stay disciplined on your workout. Therefore, Hercules gives you strength, gives you power, gives you your body, whatever you asked Hercules for. You could say in prayer or when he spoke to the gods. Like, it's hilarious. I'm like, wait, what? This is blowing my mind. And Will Durant goes into it even more. Like, he actually brings up the Temple of Aphrodite, the goddess of love in ancient Greece. You know, that was actually just a brothel. Like, I'm using this as an example. That was just a straight up brothel. The priest in the Temple of Aphrodite, or high priestess, or whoever it was, you give him a coin, and then you go have sexual intercourse with one of the people that worked the temple, one of the servants of Aphrodite. And today we would call that a brothel, and these are prostitutes. but you would worship Aphrodite by having intercourse with these prostitutes or these workers of the temple. That's how their society ran. That's how they justified these things. And Will Durant goes into it even more. Every aspect of society these are all temples when you go anywhere. So think about it. You walk into a coffee shop, the Greeks would have seen it as, oh, they're worshiping coffee here. Okay? You walk into a bank. What do they worship? They worship money. They worship cash. And you know what's even funnier with that analogy? Temples back in the day, they would hold money. They're businesses. They would hold money, like the Parthenon in Athens. That actually just became a big bank on top of a hill. And that's why they put it on top of a hill, on top of the Acropolis, because people can't, it's easier to attack someone, defend it, going downhill. You got the high ground. No pun intended. But yeah, that's what it was. So like I'm giving you my background on this, okay? Because I learned this. This is how ancient people looked at these things. We don't look at things like this anymore. Because we live in, like, I really want to say we claim, we're from a Christian, European society. But atheism is through the roof. No one believes in these things. Discipline's just gone straight to logic. So I actually think about that every time. Like, see, I'm getting deep with this. I think about that every time I do something. What God, right? Not saying I believe in these guys, right? But what God am I worshiping? This is how the Greeks saw it. And Will Durant, going into his book, well, the Mesopotamians did the same thing. The Egyptians, all these guys. Aphrodite, Ishtar, or, even Hercules has a biblical equivalent of Samson. All these guys, like, there's equivalents to all their gods overlapping in these religions. And this is how ancient societies ran. Like, you could say this is the default of humanity and civilization. And it's all based on discipline. So don't think I'm going on a tangent talking all this stuff. I'm still on topic. This is all discipline. And you do rituals in all these temples. And you do different things in these temples. So if you're in the Temple of Hercules or the Temple of Aphrodite, and so on and so on. So that's how you got to think about it. This is a religious thing that you're doing. Because, you could call it borderline magic. The help of God. Or, in their case, the gods. The whole pantheon helping you out. But so with ritual, this is how we got to think about it. I'm trying to change your guys' mindset on discipline. Because on YouTube and the self-improvement community, another place you probably heard ritual from, but like, what's your morning ritual, right? Or in sports, like you have a ritual before competition. Like, do you see this? They're trying to gain power from somewhere greater. But yeah, like your morning routine, how you start your day. I mean, that's gonna set the precedent for the whole day. But we need rituals in life, or we need discipline. We need discipline, and we don't realize that we're enacting discipline in every part of our life. Like right now, I'm trying to make it a discipline to make, these long form YouTube videos like this. And the more and more I do them, the easier it gets. And then I'll get the rewards of that. Do you see that? That's the same thing as I brought with the example of Hercules. You got to think about everything you do. Everything you do. And this stuff could get scary because we got a lot of bad habits. A lot of humans, I mean, we're just on autopilot. I mean, this is how we operate. I mean, we got to use that brain capacity for other things, We just got to, just keep things just programmed like that. But this is when discipline works against us and when we're not conscious of this. These people in ancient times, they were very disciplined. I mean, if you didn't have discipline back then, you were dead. You were dead. Like, I'm not even talking, like, they'll claim the gods killed you, right? But they understood this. So I want to talk about both ways, the good and bad on discipline. Because in ancient times, I mean, Abraham, that story is perfect. Abraham and Isaac. Like, this is why ancient cultures actually killed other people. I mean, this can get a little bit darker, but they claim the more you sacrifice, the greater the reward. And what kind of sacrifice you could get? I mean, from taking a life. So, yeah, it's getting deep. Like Mayan or Aztec cultures, they did this a lot. I mean, they just thought, because life is precious, they understood this. So the greater, the more valuable the item you gave up, that you sacrificed, the more reward. And they would do this over and over again. In ancient times and biblical times, yeah, they would do the same thing with animals. And that's why I brought up Abraham and Isaac. I mean, Isaac was on top. Abraham, make it a long story short, but Abraham was told by God to sacrifice his son on top of the hill. And then he saw the burning bush, which was a sign from God, and God didn't realize he would go all the way through it. So then God came in, with the burning bush, and then told him, hey, sacrifice this goat right here. Like, do not sacrifice your son. Like, that's not needed right now. And with Christ in general, I mean, everything's based on sacrifice. I mean, this is what Christ is talking about, honestly. I mean, he died for our sins, so we don't have to do sacrifices or do anything like this. He eliminated all of that because it got out of control. It got ritual. Discipline got out of control because people have been killing things for thousands of years. I mean, like livestock and everything, which just rotted away. I mean, they claimed it was for the gods, but it really just rotted away. But they didn't understand discipline either. I mean, uh, as you can see, this has been going on in history. That's why I labeled the video, with the 1%, because only the 1%, or even the 1%, the 1% of the 1% knows this. But yeah, it's all over. When you look, like, I want you, when you see discipline, think of ritual. Think about this, okay? Because there's heavy consequences if you're not disciplined. So I saw this graph online. Sacrifice leads to pleasure. And then the inverse, pleasure leads to sacrifice. I thought this was so simple. A to B, simple logic. Sacrifice, pleasure, pleasure, sacrifice. You know this. You know this. I'm telling you. Like, you eat, so sacrifice. You sacrifice your time, your energy. You don't want to do this workout, but you did it. Pleasure. What's pleasure? It could be a lot of things. Endorphins. Just you sticking to your word. Like, that's heavy. Your honor. Just going to the gym. Maybe meeting some people. You're socializing. Maybe you made a connect. I mean, it could be, pleasure could be so many things. But in the long term, what I'm talking about right now, you're losing weight. That's in your mind. You're losing weight because you did that workout. Because you did lose some weight. You burned some calories. That's a fact. You know, no one can argue with that. And pleasure to sacrifice. An example, instead of working out, you just stayed in eating. You just made your life worse. You didn't get closer to your goals. You went against your word. And then that's when the pain comes in. The depression, resentment, envy of others. I mean, this could go into a bunch of things. I mean, like, you didn't get your endorphins. You just got your quick fix, and you realize you couldn't fill the void. And then sacrifice comes in. What are you sacrificing? And I love this. This is perfect. Because it just shows you got to sacrifice something at the end of the day. Human beings have known this since the beginning of time. Sacrifice is mandatory. And the gods knew this. The gods knew sacrifice was mandatory. And I mean, hell, I mean, and this is, again, this is on this side of the spectrum, you know, but like the Mayan and the Aztec, like they thought the gods weren't going to give them rain and they're living in the middle of a rainforest. Like that's a little extreme. You don't need to be doing that. Or another example on the other side of the world would be like Jesus Christ and the money changers. I mean, these guys were making, these Jews and I want yeah, so you gotta be careful calling. What was that place exactly back in the day? But the money changers. Yeah, Christ went in there. He didn't like it. They set up the whole temple just as a business. I mean, that is what it is. You know, like maybe Christ didn't know much about economics and business at the time. I mean, but like that's all they're doing. And Christ went in there with a whip and whipped them all out of there. So like, there could go. You could see how people take advantage of this. But it wasn't needed because this is what Christ is saying. This is why Christ at the end of the day said, I sacrifice myself. So you guys don't need to do what Abraham did. You don't need to do what these the money changers in the temples were doing. It's completely unnecessary. We don't need to be doing any of this. But we have to understand what we sacrifice is what we get. Okay? We got to think about that every time. I'm not saying not to enjoy yourself. Don't think that's what I'm saying right now. Of course, enjoy your life. Okay? But it should come at your sacrifices. Do you see what I'm saying? So, I'm getting this through your head. I hope you guys are understanding right now. You're digesting all of this. But I'm trying to show you how important this is. I mean, it gets so deep. I mean, with discipline. I mean, like, again, people think it's just online internet culture of David Goggins and Jocko Willink. But, like, this gets deep. This is spiritual. This is a part of humanity. And we're supposed to be taught this very young. I mean, it was supposed to come from our parents. But yeah, discipline equals ritual. I want you to keep that in mind. And you pay for everything. You pay for everything. Okay? So, okay, you guys got the gist of it. Gave you a little bit of a background. Discipline equals ritual. It's since the beginning of time. Like, of course, you sacrifice time. We're gonna get this. Like to build the temple, we need a lot of workers. We need a lot of materials. We gotta sacrifice a good amount of time to erect this building to the gods, and the gods will be pleased by it. Okay? That's what we're doing. It could be anything in your life. Like work on your car, put in time, work on your car. Then you could drive your car later. That's pleasure. Another example. Build your house. I mean, put anything. Do the hard stuff. Like this is why these guys say this over and over again. Do the hard stuff. Mike Tyson put hours of training, get punched in the head, become the heavyweight champion of the world. Do you see what I'm saying? I'm gonna clear off my board, write some more things down. But you guys get what I'm saying though. I'm gonna move on to the next thing. I'm gonna get more into the mindset. Because like you have to know these things. I mean, like this is what humanity is built on. You know, you don't have to touch fire to know it's hot, you know. We have to learn from others, not just in our life, but from those that came before us. So I'm going to take my notes out for this video because I'm getting a lot deeper in this. I don't want to miss anything for you guys. Yeah, I'm going to write down this quote that I love. Real simple one, too. Character is fate. Heraclitus. Powerful. 3 words. 3 words blew me away when I first read this. Character is fate. And it's true. It's true. If you're a lying, stealing, conniving, man, what's your fate gonna be? If you're nice, you're generous, you're giving, what's your fate gonna look like? Now, you guys already had something in your head when I said this. Okay? Character is fate. And then, again, you guys probably didn't expect this turn, right? But this is why I'm making such a long form video. But what is character? What is character? A lot of people don't know what that is. Character. Character. Well, what about a character from a TV show? That's easy. We use this word all the time. We all watch plenty of fiction in Netflix. I mean, if I'm like, I don't know, what's the character like of Keanu Reeves in The Matrix? Or Leonardo DiCaprio in Inception? Or you name it. Anything. What's that character like? What are his traits? What kind of person he is? That's what I'm saying. How would someone describe you? That's your character. Therefore, it's your fate. As simple as that is. When it comes to, and I'm not trying to use scare tactics here, but when it comes to your health and fitness, if you're overweight, you're lazy, you don't move, you don't respect anything you put in your mouth, what's your fate going to be? Okay, we got to think about it like this. And people usually find out too late, which is a tragedy. But it starts from your character in the beginning. So we have to build our character. How do we build our character? Well, from the title of the video, discipline. Discipline. Okay? In your character, let's get into that. So, and from Will Durant, this quote, this is actually misquoted from Aristotle. Aristotle claims you are what you repeatedly do. That's summarized and paraphrased from Will Durant, that wrote, Will Durant's histories that I brought up before. So, but the message still gets there. Will Durant quoted Aristotle saying, "You are what you repeatedly do. Therefore, you are disciplined." Okay? So, you are disciplined. And I'm saying things over and over again so you get the repetition, okay? So don't get too annoyed with me, okay? I'm working on your minds right now. You are disciplined. Your ego, we could do that even better. Ego, you're disciplined. So if you wake up and work out every day, what is your fate? What is your character? Someone that wakes up every single morning, they don't care how tired they are, what they have to do, they just got to get moving. What is your character? What is your fate? Where does that lead to? Your actions are just little stepping stones to the big goal. Like Mike Tyson sparring every single day, getting beat up, getting injuries, this and that. But he saw the bigger picture at the end, where it led him. So you are your discipline. You are what you repeatedly do. Because it's a ritual. Going back to the spiritual side. Like you're speaking to the gods. If you're in ancient Greece. You're speaking to the Egyptian gods living in ancient Egypt. To Osiris and Isis and Sobek and whoever, and so. In this case, if you're a Christian, you're watching this, you're doing this for Christ. Christ has given you this power. Christ has given you this ability to transform yourself. He gave you free will, if I take it in the Christian sense. And you choose your own character. It's all up to you. That's what free will is at the end of the day. Discipline, I I mean, free will gets in the way of discipline. I'm going to write that down. Free will gets in the way of discipline. Because you're free. You could do anything you want, right? And I think that's why a lot of people don't like religions. It constricts them. But if you're a Christian, everything's in the Bible. To read a good life, that's all you need. That's the only book you actually need. And I'm not even saying that because I'm a Christian necessarily. I mean, I'm pretty open-minded. But yeah, the Bible, treasure trove of wisdom in there. But yeah, free will gets in the way of discipline. So we veer off the path. It's really easy. I mean, we have free will. We can do whatever we want. And that means we can break our discipline. We don't even have to do rituals anymore. I mean, if I'm talking about Christ right now, I mean, Abraham and Isaac, I mean, like right there, God was done with all that. So free will gets in the way of discipline. So we got to choose where we want our life to be. And we have to know we got to do something over and over and over again. And this is where humility comes in. Okay? Because the lower your ego, if I go back to this, the more humility you'll have. The more humility you have, the more discipline you'll have. Because a lot of people don't like this. People are acting like robots. That's basically what it is. The biggest thing I see from discipline and jobs that are like very tedious, you're doing the same thing over again, like factory jobs or cleaning jobs. Like you have to be extremely disciplined to be good at your job. Because that's why it's difficult. It looks easy because, I'm doing the same thing. No, it's not easy. I mean, if doing the same thing over and over again was easy because of discipline, then we would all have discipline, right? We'd all wake up at the same time, work out at the same time, gain all this money in our business, work with people. Like it's just not like that. This is why these jobs are so difficult, and nobody wants to do them because you have to be extremely disciplined. Okay? So remember, your character is your fate. I'm trying to break this down for you guys the best I can, okay? But your discipline, what you do over and over again, your ritual, you're becoming this person. You're becoming this person. What person do you want to become? This is what I'm asking you. Your discipline is what you are. What do you want to become? This is what I'm asking you. So if you're eating gas station food every single day and you're going through the drive-thru, you have to ask yourself, what will I become of this? These are very difficult questions. And I'm talking about everything. When you compliment someone, when you do something nice for someone, when you yell at someone on the bad side or talk down or this or that, what are you becoming? What are you becoming? Because you're praising, in the Greek sense, you're praising some god somewhere else. So what are you becoming? You have to be very careful of your actions. Your actions are extremely powerful. I'm going to take this even further with you guys. So, I think you guys are getting it right now. Now I want to get back to more our mind. So, if we want to be this person, because we can do the actions, okay? And you can do the actions for a very long time. Like, I want to say, I don't know, what I've heard in self-improvement space, books I've read, takes about 21 days to break a habit. And don't forget, a habit is a product of your discipline. 21 days. I hear 21 a lot. I like to say that's pretty liberal. Maybe 30 days. I've even heard 60. But you get it. It takes a long time. I mean, 3 weeks. I mean, that's the fastest. That's insanely fast to break a habit and have something new. But 30, 60 days, in my opinion, I like to say I've changed my habits maybe in a month, personally. I mean, 21 days is, really fast. But we do the actions over and over again. I mean, think about doing something because there's some habits I do have. I'm past 60 days on. I'm losing my mind. I'm not seeing any improvement over and over again. And this is where the humility comes in because it's a lot harder than it is. And I realize, wow, what I am right now is not what I want to be in the future. And that's a really scary thought. This is why you have to humble yourself, work on yourself every single day in, day out. You have to do rituals. Okay? But you're doing the action, this is with your body. Well, what about your mind? So, with exercise, I see this all the time. I've got clients, I've worked with people, and I've got clients that tell me I'm a fucking fat ass, I'm this, I'm that, and I just have to fucking stop them right there. I'm like, stop. Stop. Like, I don't need to say a single insult to you. I don't need to disrespect you in any way because you do it all day to me. You talk about yourself this and that, and that's your character. That is your character. Why are you calling yourself that? Don't identify with that. And you shouldn't. Even with something with fat. Like, I mean, you are not your fat. It's not your brain. It's not your heart. It's not your stomach. It's just fat. It's just excess fat on your body. Like, that's really got to look at it. That's not you. But people identify as that. And then that's what becomes their fate. So we got to hit the root problem. Because a lot of people, I mean, they're kind of like in the middle. They're like trying to do the actions or they're thinking about where they're going and they're trying to change it from there. But we got to start with who you want to be in your character. So what's in your mind has to match with your reality outside. Okay? And I'm going to put it this way for you guys. I'm going to erase this actually. One more space for this. So your mind has to match your reality. Okay? Your mind has to match your reality. This is what I'm talking about. Your character, fate, your ego, your discipline. I mean, I'm saying the same thing over and over again. I'm just using different language. I just hope that I could get across to more people like this. So what you put in, what you get out. As above, as below. You know, like go on and on. This is basically what I'm talking about right now. And I don't know why this hit me so hard. But this actually came from geometry. Yes, math class, geometry class in high school. But congruence. Congruence. What does that mean? What does congruence mean? I'm sure you guys have heard the word. Well, what I could tell you in geometry, congruence is the quality of being similar, the quality of being similar to or an agreement with something. I gotta write slower. Yeah, bear with me. Oh, my handwriting. So what does that mean? So let's say if I have, and I'm using the geometry example because this is how I learned it. So I hope, some of you math guys understand it like me. So we have two right angles. Two right angle triangles. What does that mean? They both have 90 degrees in them. So therefore, the other two angles are the same. And since they're congruent, they have the same angles and the same length sides. Okay, I know you didn't expect a math lesson. But you have to remember at the end of the day, we are geometry. We are all made out of everything that is matter is made out of shapes. So this actually does apply to what I'm talking about. This is very rudimentary. I couldn't believe that at a young age that I made this realization, and it kind of grew later, but this was the spark. Okay? So this is what I want my clients to be in life. And I want them to be congruent. And right now I'm talking about non-right triangles in my math class to get, good grade, but in their mind and body. Like the example I gave, I have a client actively working with me, giving me money, his hard-earned money, and he's calling himself a fat ass. And I'm losing my mind. And I don't want to, I'm losing my mind because first of all, I can't even call him a fat ass because he already did it to himself. So he got that out of the way. But I can't change his body because I cannot change his mind. If these things are out of whack, if these things do not equal, you're delusional. So I want to bring that up. If your mind and body are not equal, you are delusional. And there's a spectrum on this, of course. And I like to say, I mean, I don't know, let's build it out right here. Let's call this insanity, genius. Okay? Insanity, genius. Because if you're not congruent, because this is what I actually claim, this is what congruency is. You have this, you're equal. And if you're not equal at all, because there's degrees, we're all on the spectrum. Because not everybody's a genius level, but not everybody's insane. Okay? So I think we agree on that. Because some of us are here, some of us are over here, unfortunately. And to be honest, I don't think genius is the best thing, but on the deep end on both sides. But it has to be congruent. What's in your mind has to match reality. Okay? Or, I gotta be careful my words talking about this. What's in your mind is gonna build reality. Because someone that's overweight, logically, because I'm with my clients, I've been there and I'm more empathetic with them. And I understand, yeah, they're overweight. Like if you're 300 pounds, you're going to be like, yeah, I am a fat ass. Like that's the first step is acceptance. You have to know that you're overweight to lose weight. But we can't stay in that cycle because you'll never get out of it because you will always be overweight. And then it will match your reality. Or in this case, your body. And you're going to stay overweight. And then you're going to be like, why is it so hard to lose weight? Well, you have a mind of an overweight person. So you'll never lose weight. Okay? So we want to be congruent. Okay? This is the idea. Our mind matches our reality. And we do this with everything. I mean, you can take this, these principles go into anything. Everything in life, from business to relationships, families, whatever. Everything. Everything. Right now I'm just talking about your health. Okay? So we want to look for congruence. And this is when discipline comes in. Because discipline, like I could tell you when I was fighting, like when you put in the rounds, when you stay up late, you cut weight, you take those beatings. You practice all that technique. You roll light, you drill light, you go hard. You do all these things you have to do. Then you're making your mind congruent with your body. You're like, hey, I am war ready for a fight because I did the work. You see, you could put this for anything. So these have to match. Okay? But the thing is, on the way, it's not going to be perfect. Don't think it's going to be like this. Because we get trapped in this. Which I learned from geometry also. But similar shapes. So follow with me. I know I'm all over the place. But similar shapes have the same angle. Same angles. I'm going to use an equilateral triangle. So that means they all have the same angles. So 30 degrees. But as you can see, this triangle is bigger. They're similar. They're not congruent because they're not the same thing. Do you see what I'm saying? Because if this is your mind, you want your mind to look like this. Okay? And then this is your reality. They'll probably your reality or your body, because I'm talking about fitness right now. I could give you a story actually. But I was driving up to the gym and I was just visualizing I was driving a Lamborghini just for fun. I like cars, right? I drive up to the gym, I see a Lamborghini. I see a Lamborghini in the parking lot. I was losing my mind because I was visualizing that going up there. And I can tell you, I don't live in Miami. I don't live in New York. I don't live in Los Angeles. Average person in my community does not drive a Lamborghini. So when a Lamborghini drives by, everybody's looking. Nobody's driving sports cars like that around me. And then I realized what hit me. I'm not congruent with my reality because I want to be driving a Lamborghini. But I'm similar. I'm getting closer to my reality because it might not be the same thing. Because I was laughing to myself, oh man, I should have I should have visualized me going to the dealership, putting the money down, doing the negotiation, talking it down, driving off the lot. That's what I should have visualized. I should have gone way more into that. I should have gone way deeper. Even my affirmations and everything. And I'm saying do the same thing for your weight. Because you want to get as close as possible. But this was very upsetting to me when I saw this in that parking lot. I'm like, damn. So, yeah, I hope I didn't bore you guys too much. But, like, do you see what I'm saying? We want to be congruent. Okay? Best case scenario, similar. But this is how we know we're getting there. And we're talking about manifesting things like our body. I mean, a lot of things we're talking about are matter. Okay? We want to manifest things like six pack abs, 15-inch arms, 10% body fat, whatever it is. We don't want to be similar. Okay, we want to be on the dot. We want to be congruent, and that comes through our discipline. As we build our discipline, because I told you the Lamborghini example, because I realized looking at myself, man, I need to look at my finances. I need to learn more about cars, because maybe this is why it's similar right now. But it makes me very happy because I can tell you when something like this happens to you, you know you're on the right track. Now, let's say if your goal is to lose 20 pounds, you lose 10. No, maybe even worse, you lose 2.5 pounds. But you know you're getting closer. So you're aligning yourself. Alignment. This is what I'm talking about. Alignment. And all is number, Pythagoras. I mean, like, mathematics rules the universe. And this is one way I was learning through this. So remember, your mind has to match your reality. How do you get your mind to match your reality? Discipline. What is discipline? Discipline is a ritual. Discipline is a religious experience. And I'm sure anybody that's gone to church, mosque, temple, whatever religious affiliation you have, you do rituals in the building. We always do. And another one hit home. It just came up. I brush my teeth every morning right before I go to bed, every night. Non-negotiable. Happens every time. Doesn't matter if I got zero amount of sleep. Doesn't matter what the situation is. I'm brushing my teeth. By brushing my teeth, I get nice white teeth without cavities, and I can eat things the next day, right? And my breath smells good. That's the ritual I'm doing. That's what I'm gaining when I'm brushing my teeth. That's the reward. Do you see? I'm giving you guys plenty of examples so I could drive this home with you guys. Okay? Now the next part. I got this from. I'm gonna pull the book up. Hope it doesn't get too blurry on the camera. Do you see this? Power of Habit by Charles Duhigg. This book blew me away. $15. This could be $1 million book right here. This was amazing when I read this. It's all about habits, broke down all these things. I recommend it for all you guys. It's like, when I got it, $15. It's probably cheaper now. But Charles Duhigg gave a perfect example, because I'm breaking down discipline even more and ritual. So easy, honestly. He made this thing he called the habit loop. So it's easy, like me brushing my teeth as an example. Cue. It's in the morning or before bed. That's my cue. Ready to go to sleep. Gotta brush my teeth. That's the routine. That's the discipline. That's the ritual. Then I get the reward with nice, cleaner, white teeth. Okay? And I did that one time because I saw a different shade in my teeth. My breath feels good. You know, I got a nice, healthy mouth. I don't have to see the dentist again that nobody likes to see. Boom. Goes back to the cue again. It's the next day. Do my routine over and over and over again. So this is what you got to build up if you want to get in shape. You want to be disciplined to get in shape with your food, your mindset, your exercise, everything. So Charles Duhigg says, okay, we know what the reward is. The reward's easy. So what's the cue? What is the cue? I mean, for me, I work out in the mornings. The cue is, after I brush my teeth, to work out. It's the morning. We got to get it out the way. We work out, get the reward. But the problem is we need to replace. We all have bad habits. We're committing bad rituals. This is why we're getting bad things in our life. I could even say it gets even a little demonic. We're not, we're not doing rituals for Christ or any benign gods or whatever you believe in. But maybe demonic figures that destroy your life, that give you ill health. I mean, people back in the day really thought disease and all that, which is the gods punishing them, or Satan himself. Like, I'm thinking like the Middle Ages with the Black Plague. But people try to understand this. What could we do? I mean, if I use the Black Plague example, like the cue was, well, someone's sick. What's the routine? I mean, today, if someone had the Black Plague, they'll go to, a doctor's office and they'll get treatment right away. But to them, they thought, okay, maybe flowers. They thought good smells kept these things away and demons. And maybe the reward, maybe they saw it sometimes. Like this is what's complicated. You don't know what actually works. But that's why you gotta do it over and over and over again. You call this the scientific method. Do you see where I'm going with this? Like everything is just discipline. This is what everything is built on. But this is massive for me. You gotta figure out where your cues are, your triggers. This is what a cue is. And then what do you do? Your routine, and then your reward. What are you getting out of this? And right here, I'm gonna write this quote down because I think it's so amazing. I got this from Viktor Frankl's Man's Search for Meaning. And if you didn't know anything about Viktor Frankl, he was a Holocaust survivor, an Auschwitz psychologist. And he had a rare opportunity. Hey, give me one moment, actually. It's hard to multitask. blew me away when I read this. And especially someone like him living in his conditions. Between stimulus and response, there's a space. And that space is our power to choose our response. In our response lies our growth and freedom. Hilarious. That happened right in the middle of the video. Oh, that's going to drive me crazy. I'm going to keep on talking and fix this, right? Hilarious. You learn things along the way, especially with discipline. So between stimulus and response. So stimulus, that would have to be the trigger. The response. Or routine. So this is actually where free will is. This is what he's talking about. What do we do here? What do we do? Our cue. What is our cue? Like, for example, a lot of people, some people are anxious. Anxiety hits. Routine. What's the routine? I could tell you when anxiety hits me, I start moving. I go for a walk. I do some push-ups. That's what anxiety is. It's energy. You got energy. But people don't do that. Maybe they replace it with eating. Maybe they take it out on someone else and spill it on someone else. And what's a reward? And I want to call it a reward at the end of the day doing that. But we both feel the same thing, but there's different outcomes. And that's when free will comes in. Going back to what I was saying before. Free will. Okay? This is where everything is at. This is where we change our whole life. Because this is automatic. Whatever you do, you've done it a million times, you're going to do it again. If you don't examine yourself. What Socrates, the unexamined life, isn't worth living. And this is what he's talking about right here. So we got to realize, what are we doing right here in the free will? So we got to figure out this. We got to change our habits. I'm getting deep. I'm getting deep into discipline right now. And I want you guys to change for the best. Because because a lot of people can't fathom this reality, but it starts in your mind. So we got to be congruent. It's got to be in our mind first. Because we got to understand, if we work out more, all the rewards we're going to get. I mean, majority of men are probably watching this, but you're going to get more compliments from women. Men are going to respect you. You can lift heavy things. I mean, that's massive. I mean, like, you can things in your house that are too heavy to move. Come on, like, I mean, that's why every woman wants a man around. To protect yourself. Self-defense. You want to be strong. You want to live longer. These are the rewards you want. So what is your routine to do that? Do you see what I'm saying? Work backwards. What do you want? Okay, what do I have to do to get there? And then you learn about yourself with the triggers. You learn about your own psychology and mind. What am I doing with my life? And this stuff's tough. It's tough because you can't have an ego. Because you have to break down your old ego. Because if you're overweight, if you have a bad diet, you don't work out, you got an ego around that. For some reason, you won't engage in those rituals. I don't know what that ego is. Basically, you're saying, I don't want to believe in this God, or I don't want health. I don't want fitness. I don't want compliments from women. I don't want to defend myself. That's really what it is the outcome, is the result. The gods and, the spirituality, that's that personified. So this is what we got to understand. We got to drop the ego. We got to break your ego down. It's hard. It's hard. You're going to feel like you're dying, literally. But we got to break it down and become someone else, because our character is our fate. Our character is our fate. And this goes back, and to cement this even more, we got to make our word our law. We have to make our word our law. So what does that mean? If you say you're going to do something, do it. Do it. Not just to yourself, but everybody else. If you, I don't know, told your brother you're gonna drive him to work, you're gonna drive him to work. You're not gonna take him back. You're gonna say you're gonna do this, you're gonna do that, and it's gonna overflow in your life, and then that becomes your character, and people can support. People can understand you could support them, you could help them out, and when you say something, I mean you mean it. You mean it. There's no jokes around here. Your words carry weight, and I feel like in our culture, our words don't mean anything. Nothing. People disrespect each other all the time. People don't care. People lie. People fit in. I mean, even work, like people have crazy political ideas that they don't want to go along with, but they want to do it for a paycheck. This messes you up. This leads to insanity because your mind is not matching up with reality, and there's no way you can make it match. That would be gaslighting yourself. That's really the definition of it. So we have to make our word our law, and it's easy. Do what you say. Just do what you say. Everything I'm talking about up here, I'm doing what as I say. I mean, you probably hear it in my voice, or you probably clicked off a long time ago for how long this video is going. But we have to make our word our law. And this is what comes in ritual. This is why the priest in the church says certain things. Or in ritual, or you could say magic, like they say abracadabra, and like there's magic words you say, or you say this many Hail Marys, or you say a Bloody Mary in the mirror 3 times, and then she pops up. Like, people, they understand our word is our law. But now in the society we live in, it doesn't mean anything. You know, what it really is in European culture, there's no honor. I'm going to write this down. There's no honor. This doesn't exist in our culture anymore. I mean, it used to be chivalry in the Middle Ages or Bushido in feudal Japan, but it doesn't exist. People don't even know what that is. I can honestly say, you know, I could boldly claim that, you know, I'm Albanian. Albanians are the last culture with honor. I mean, we call it Besa or Nender. This is why I'm talking about this, because I never understood this growing up, because no one had this growing up. I could tell you, this is my culture. Like, this is just a given. And Albanians, you know, people like to say, you know, fearsome people, honestly. But I think it's because of this. Because we hold our honor. And when I say fearsome, yes, we're dangerous, but we're good people. But I believe we're good and dangerous because of this. We make our word our law. So when we say something, we mean it. That's reality. That's powerful. Because you know someone that's a bullshitter or a pathological liar, you don't care what he says. I mean, the guy could say there's a shooter in the building and you just blow him off. Like, this guy's the biggest liar in the world. But someone that sticks to their word, that's disciplined, that's been there every single day. He says there's a man with a gun in the building, you're going to listen to him. Your words are powerful. And people think, again, like, oh, man, the incongruence or the insanity, honestly, is they think they could say something, do things for themselves, and act different around people. No, you got to be aligned. You got to be aligned. It's just really ironic. It's just hypocrisy. You know, right here, another good quote. You know, it's funny, and because of this, I think this is where insecurity builds from people. Because we care about other people's opinions more than ours. Like right here, I got Marcus Aurelius. We love ourselves more than others. But we love ourselves more than others, correct? But the values, we value other people's opinions more than our own. Marcus Aurelius Meditations. And it's just true. And this is what happens when you're disjointed, where you're incongruent. Because like for me, someone calls me fat. People do it plenty of times in videos, right? Like you look weak or you got small arms. I know that's not true. I'm not fat. I don't have small arms, right? Like right now, I haven't been working my arms, and I know they're like close to 14 inches. Like, come on, like it's not even trying. But like, I know this. I know. It's not bullshit. So this is why, like, you shouldn't get offended. You shouldn't care what people think. And it's hard to do that when you're not congruent because this takes a process. I mean, people go past 30 years old and they still don't have this down. But that's okay. We're all work in progress. So yeah, we are. We're character is fate. I want you to put that in. I want you to practice discipline. I want you to practice discipline, become the man you want to be. That's what we're thinking about, the end goal. And we got to think about it as a religious, we got to think about everything is sacred. Our workout is sacred. When we meal prep, our food is sacred. When we go out to eat with friends, it's sacred. Okay, we have to understand all this. This is a ritual. I mean, first of all, it just enriches life when you think about things like this. Discipline's really not boring when you really appreciate everything that goes into this and when you think about it in this way. Okay? So, yeah, ranted for a little bit, but I hope you guys understand what discipline really is. And I'm glad you guys made it all the way to the video to watch this. And there's gonna definitely be more in the future, and I'm gonna revisit this topic and add more. So thank you guys. Appreciate everything.